gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Canal Algérie's nightly news on February the 8th. Here are the top stories. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the German Vice Chancellor and Federal Minister for the Economy and Climate Action, Robert Habeck. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, also receives the Secretary General of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, Mohammed Hamil. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extends his condolences following the martyrdom of the military helicopter crew members in a crash in Wirgla Air Base. On the sixth day of his visit to Saudi Arabia, Army General Said Chingriha, the PNA Chief of Staff, holds talks with the Chief of Staff of the Saudi Armed Forces. And the 66th anniversary of the Saqiyyat Sidi Yusuf massacres is commemorated, denoting the profound relations linking the Algerian and Tunisian peoples. Welcome back. First off, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Vice Chancellor of Germany, Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Robert Habeck. The meeting took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem, and the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohammed Arqab, as well as the Minister of Industry and Pharmaceutical Production, Ali Aoun. Following the meeting, the Vice Chancellor of Germany, Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Robert Habeck, had this to say.
It was a warm welcome. The meeting I had with the President was the most important moment. It was marked by the President's wisdom and will to establish peace and reconciliation. It is a working visit devoted to economic and energy cooperation. Algeria and Germany, in addition to Italy and Austria, can achieve major projects for a new energy world. Algeria's prosperity depends heavily on gas exportation, and the German government is grateful to Algeria for increasing the gas volume when the Russian gas delivery was not so available due to war. Germany and the EU will decrease their gas consumption in the 15 or 25 coming years by introducing hydrogen, and Algeria has great potentialities in this field. There is already a pipeline linking Algeria to Germany. It would be used for the benefit of the two countries. It would allow Algeria to get ready for the post-gas era to ensure future prosperity. Importing hydrogen for Germany and Europe is the main objective of my visit, and I thank all my colleagues for their determination to attain this objective. I do believe that energy cooperation will be of a great contribution for peace and prosperity. I can say that following the discussions they held, I'm so optimistic for future.
The President of the Republic also received today the Secretary General of the Forum of the Gas Exporting Countries, Mohammed Hamil. The meeting was attended by the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem, and the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohammed Arqab. For his part, the Secretary General of the Forum of the Gas Exporting Countries, Mohammed Hamil, made the following statement.
كان لي شرف عظيم لقاء فخامة الرئيس عبدالمجيد تبون وعبرت للرئيس
I had the honor to be received by President Abdelmajid Tebboune. I thanked him on behalf of the GECF for hosting this forum in its 7th edition. I made as well a presentation on my visit to Algeria and the preparations being made for the summit, which are advancing well. The activities of the forum were also included in this presentation, in addition to the Gas Studies Center headquartered by Algeria. We also examined the energy gas market situation and its role in a sustainable development, in addition to the energy security and gas cooperation. The President gave some instructions and advice to ensure the success of the summit and the gas forum to the benefit of all countries.
To this sad news, where a military helicopter belonging to the Wirgla Air Base crashed on Wednesday near Mni'a Airport, which resulted in the death of Colonel Amara Rida, Lieutenant Colonel Jalal Yassin, and Contracted Sergeant Belgharbi Mohammed. Following this tragedy, the President of the Republic, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune, extends his deepest condolences and sympathy to the families of the martyrs and all the members of the People's National Army, praying Allah Almighty to have mercy on them and to welcome them in His vast paradise. A communique by the Ministry of National Defense indicated that while scheduling a night training sortie last night at approximately 9 p.m., a military combat helicopter of the type Mi-171 belonging to the Air Force Command fell on the outskirts of Mni'a Airport in the 4th Military Region, resulting in the death of its crew consisting of 3 members. Army General, on his behalf and on behalf of all the People's National Army personnel, extends his sincere condolences and sympathy to the families of the martyrs, Colonel Amara Rida, Lieutenant Colonel Jalal Yassin, and Contracted Sergeant Belgharbi Mohammed, praying Allah Almighty to have mercy on their pure souls and to grant their close ones patience. Following this tragedy, Army General Chief of Staff of the PNA ordered an investigation into the causes and circumstances. Indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return. Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Salih Goudjil, signed on Thursday at the headquarters of the Namibian Embassy in Algiers the condolences register following the death of the Namibian President Hage Geingob on the 4th of February following a long disease. On the 6th day of his official visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a representative of the President of the Republic, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Army General Said Shingriha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, held a meeting today with the Chief of Staff of the Saudi Arabian Armed Forces, Army General Fayed bin Hamad Al-Ruwili. Misa Kabash has more.
Upon his arrival and at the entrance of the General Staff's headquarters, Army General Said Shingriha, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, was received by Army General Fayed bin Hamad Al-Ruwili, where military honors from various forces were paid to him. Before holding a meeting in which senior military officials of the Saudi Armed Forces took part, alongside members of the military delegation accompanying Army General Said Shingriha. The two parties reviewed bilateral military relations and means to consolidate military cooperation and consultation between the armies of the two brotherly countries.
أشعر بي في البداية أن أعرب لكم عن بالغ امتناني بهذا الاستقبال الحار.
On this occasion, Army General delivered a speech in which he hailed the warm welcome he received with the delegation accompanying him from the Saudi authorities. He also conveyed the greetings of all the personnel of the National People's Army to their counterparts in the Saudi Armed Forces, hoping that this visit would be crowned with positive results that will serve the military cooperation and fraternal relations between the two brotherly countries. The Army General indicated that this rapprochement has resulted in numerous high-level visits and official meetings exchanged between our two armies. The latest was the meeting in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in April 2023 on the sidelines of the Defense Fair.
2023 على هامش معرض الدفاع والأمن. وإذا تقدم لسياداتكم بتشكراتنا الخالصة على الدعوة التي شرفتمونا بها لحضور فعالية الطبعة الثانية للمعرض العالمي للدفاع بالرياض
Army General Saeed Shangriha expressed his thanks being invited to take part in the second edition of the World Defense Exhibition in Riyadh, hoping that this edition would be crowned with success as all efforts will be deployed to define fundamental axes capable of developing our common action and determine means that will enable them to achieve the set objectives.
وتوضيح كيفيات تحقيق أهدافها لفائدة ومصلحة الجيشين.
The Army General added that he is fully convinced that this returnal meeting will bear fruitful results for the future of our bilateral military relations in accordance with the ambitious and sincere aspirations of the two countries' leaders.
بما يتوافق مع الإرادة الطموحة والصادقة لقائدي البلدين.
At the end of the meeting, the two parties exchanged symbolic gifts.
Today, we commemorated the 66th anniversary of Saqiyyat Sidi Yusuf massacres of February the 8th, 1958. Massacres that were considered a genocide committed by the French colonizer against humanity. The events were telling evidence of the strong fraternal ties binding the Algerian and Tunisian peoples. Misa Kebash looks back at this tragedy.
February the 8th, 1958. It was 10 a.m. in a Tunisian village called Saqiyyat Sidi Yusuf. It was a market day in which a population found itself running for its life due to French bombardments, claiming 79 lives among civilians, including 20 students and members of the International Red Crescent present there for a humanitarian mission. 148 wounded were also recorded, both Algerian and Tunisian. This bloodbath was an important milestone for the Algerian Revolution, as the French colonizer was denounced and the Algerian cause's voice was heard internationally, especially that the massacre hit the front pages of international press. Saqiyyat Sidi Yusuf was a logistic base for the National Liberation Army, a crossing point for weapons and ammunition, and a grouping point for refugees. Through these bombardments that targeted this village, the French colonizer was hoping to break the relationship binding the Algerian and Tunisian peoples. But to its big surprise, it had the opposite effect as bilateral relations became stronger between the two nations and peoples.
In his capacity as a representative of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, arrived this evening in Nouakchott bearing a written message from President Abdelmajid Tebboune to his brother, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Mohamed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazouani. This visit is part of the continuous communication and regular consultation between the leaders of the two brotherly countries, with the aim of strengthening the remarkable positive momentum witnessed by the Algerian-Mauritanian relations and providing them with all the elements of sustainability and success, as well as contributing to all that supports security and stability on the regional level. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Ahmed Attaf, received today a phone call from the European Union's Special Representative for Sahel Affairs, Emanuela Claudia Del Rey. Both parties exchanged views on the recent developments in the Sahel-Sahara region and Algeria's efforts to promote peaceful solutions to solve crises and conflicts, with an aim of promoting peace and stability in the Sahel-Sahara region. In other news, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, received the Vice Chancellor of Germany, Federal Minister for the Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Robert Habeck, who is on an official visit to our country, accompanied by a high-level delegation composed of the ministry's officials, various executives of the sector of economy, and the managers of the biggest energy companies in Germany. The two parties discussed strategic partnership that binds both countries and bilateral cooperation in the sector of energy, notably dossiers of cooperation of common interest such as renewable energies, hydrogen development, and South H2 corridor project. The Minister of Industry and Pharmaceutical Production, Ali Aoun, also received today the Vice Chancellor of Germany, Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Robert Habeck, in addition to representatives of the biggest German companies. The meeting revolved around means to strengthen cooperation in the industrial sector between both parties. Minister Aoun followed the presentations by the representatives of the German companies, notably projects related to renewable energies, pharmaceutical production, and training. As we mentioned yesterday, the digital investor platform was launched today by the Algerian Investment Promotion Agency, an approach that will provide investors with information related to the availability of real estate and allow project leaders to devote themselves fully to their investments. Here's Ines Killu with more.
The Algerian Investment Promotion Agency has launched a new online service for submitting applications for the granting of economic land in the state's private domain, with the aim of making investment projects a reality and managing them. This service can be accessed via l'Investisseur digital platform. Today we're launching the area for processing applications via the digital platform for investors in 22 provinces, with 904 units of land initially available, covering an area of 563 hectares. The other provinces will gradually be added, with the platform being constantly updated to include new economic land ready for development. Applicants must provide all the required information via the digital investor platform managed by the Algerian Investment Promotion Agency. Applicants for economic land are processed digitally using a project evaluation grid.
Il y a des secteurs, des filières qui sont saturés. Ceux-là aussi, ils auront leur chance de réinvestir.
There are some sectors that are saturated and they also have the chance to reinvest or expand. But there are priorities such as the textile industry, renewable energy, without forgetting agriculture, which is at the top of the list and which has a platform for appeal and which is linked to agricultural industrial processing. So today, this digital platform will be pre-registering applications that have been on hold for a very long time.
On attend depuis très longtemps parce que maintenant, nous rassemblons tous les guichets. C'est un seul guichet.
Thanks to this new platform, the management of economic property files, previously hampered by bureaucratic practices, will benefit from greater transparency and speed, which will stimulate the efforts meant to diversify the national economy.
We are experiencing the loss of a dear colleague here at Canal Algérie, Sophia Ben Shoban, who passed away at the age of 77. The late began her career in newspapers, then joined Canal Algérie in 1996. Sophia was known for her great dedication to her job and her fun spirit. The late was buried in Garidi Cemetery this afternoon. Following this painful ordeal, the head of EPTV, Nadir Bouqabas, extended condolences to the late's family. Indeed, to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. For their part, the General Directorate of Communication at the Presidency of the Republic extended condolences in a heartfelt message, recalling the late's qualities as a devoted journalist. The relentless bombings of the Zionist entity persist in the Gaza Strip and the occupied West Bank for the 5th consecutive month. However, in recent days, hopes for a cessation of these aggressions are rising thanks to continuous diplomatic efforts. Ines Killu brings us to speed on the advancement of the negotiations.
On the 124th day of Gaza massacres, fears are mounting over the fate of more than 1 million Palestinians trapped in Rafah, where the Zionist entity is preparing to launch a new offensive as a new round of truce talks open today in Cairo, sponsored by Egypt and Qatar. According to an Egyptian official, the aim of this truce is to establish calm in the Gaza Strip and an exchange of prisoners between the two parties.
Within the
Hamas movement, we have demanded a cessation of aggression and we speak of full end of atrocities against Gaza. This conditions demanded by Hamas is one of the other conditions put forward by the resistance, such as the reconstruction of Gaza, which has been completely destroyed by the Zionist colonizer, who is continuing his aggression against the Palestinian people and destroying what remains. So for this truce to take place, there must be a total cessation of attacks and not just a temporary ceasefire, because the occupier will resume their bombardment once their prisoners have been released. The other condition remains the release of the Palestinian prisoners, some of whom have been jailed for more than 40 years, while others have been sentenced to death. The Zionist prisoners in the hands of the resistance will not be released as long as our prisoners are dying in the Zionist jails. The third demand is the opening of the Rafah crossing point for transporting providing human aid, otherwise there will be no point in this truce. The Zionist occupiers intend to exterminate the displaced persons in Rafah, now housing more than 1.5 million people. We warned them against any military operation, as they have committed several massacres. The Palestinian people have repeatedly demonstrated their rejection of colonialism and occupation. All plans for normalization and other political solutions to the conflict at the expense of our people will not be accepted.
According to Hamas source, the proposed truce provides for a 6-week break in the fighting in exchange of 200 to 300 Palestinian prisoners for 35 to 40 prisoners from Hamas and a higher law of humanitarian aid in Gaza. Hamas is aiming for a ceasefire, an end to the war and an exchange of prisoners. The Zionist entity maintains that it will only put a lasting end to its offensive once Hamas has been eliminated and the Zionist prisoners released. On his 5th tour over the region since the massacres began, Antonio Blinken liked the truce proposal worked out by American, Qatari and Egyptian officials. The American Secretary of State said he hoped for a second truce after the week-long one in November, which led to the release of Palestinian and Zionist prisoners. Meanwhile, the Zionist army is stepping up its murderous strikes in the Palestinian enclave, bombing several houses to the south of Nablus and killing dozens of Palestinians. At the same time, 14 Palestinians lost their lives and 10 others were injured last night in an air attack carried out by the Zionist occupying forces in the center and south of the Gaza Strip. In the West Bank, the occupying forces intensified their military actions at the checkpoint east of Tobas, causing a traffic jam, which hampered the movement of Palestinians moving to Al-Aghwar.
The end of tonight's news. More news tomorrow with my colleague Salim Miroh. Take care and enjoy your weekend.